Well, Iranian officials quick to blame the U.S. for Israeli attacks after the United States assisted in shooting down missiles fired over Tel Aviv.
Let's bring in former State Department Deputy Special Envoy to combat anti-Semitism and Iranian refugee Ellie Cohanim. Sorry, Ellie. So you are an Iranian refugee. Right now, obviously Israel has methodically taken out a lot of key officials in Iran. I think a lot of us are asking, what is next for Iran if the regime is toppled?
Lisa, that's a great question. And I do want to remind the audience that President Trump is still giving the Iranian regime the ability to come to the negotiation table on Sunday and rescue themselves. Until now, the regime did not read the room right. They did not understand that President Donald Trump is not Barack Obama and he's not Joe Biden. He gave them a real pathway through negotiation. They failed. They still have a last chance. But if they fail again, I want to remind the audience that the Iranian regime is only in power for 46 years. I was born in Iran. We escaped in 1979. They are an anomaly in Persian and Iranian history. They're not a real reflection of the Iranian people, a proud heritage and history. And the Iranian Crown Prince lives in the Washington, D.C. area. He has said that he'd be happy to be in charge of a transition government after, and then allow the Iranian people to vote and vote for who they want in charge of a country in a free Iran. So I think that the options for the Iranian people, the future of Iran exists. It's really a question of whether the regime makes smart decisions between now and Sunday.
And do you think they do? Do you think the self-preservation instinct, watching what's happened, makes them suddenly become reasonable?
The character of this regime is that they are revolutionary. And so I'm not banking on them. I think that, again, their pattern has been that they are radical. Their very reason to exist has been to reject American values, reject the West, reject Israel. They call us Big Satan. They call Israel Little Satan. And so it's hard to imagine that this radical revolutionary regime under the Ayatollah Khamenei, the supreme leader, will suddenly change stripes even as they are under attack. If you're a revolutionary, what you want to do is maintain your bona fides and say, I resisted America. So I think this is a really interesting developing story. And I just want to add one more thing. If we're having an economic conversation, right now we're in the midst of war, and it might look scary for American consumers and financial folks. But let's remember that this attack will secure American national security, American interests in the Middle East. And so maybe we'll have some volatility for the next week or so, but long run, defanging the Iranian regime, taking away their nuclear and military capabilities, their ability to cause so much destabilization in the Middle East, this is a win for us long run.
And this has got to be interesting watching this and so personal. I mean, you're Jewish, you fled Iran. What do you remember about Iran before your family fled? And what is it like from such a personal lens to be watching all of this unfold right now?
Lisa, I really appreciate that question. And of course, I'm also proud, patriotic American. So I've got the intersection of the United States, Israel, and Iran here right now. And what I would tell you is that, again, the Iranians are a very proud people with a thousands-year-old heritage and history. The regime is not a reflection of the Iranian people. Jews in Iran predate the Islamic conquest. And America was a trusted ally of Iran under the Shah, as was Israel. So, look, I'm hopeful that one day the Iranian people will go back to the proud heritage that we have. And certainly, if we see that happen, it'll be because of the leadership of somebody like President Donald Trump.
But not much of a history of democracy there. So we should probably keep expectations in check that if this regime falls, what follows, not necessarily better, but you would hope it would be.
Well, here's one thing I'm going to just say on that note, James. Iran is not Iraq. And I think that the U.S. experience was such a failed experience in Iraq that we are somewhat traumatized, if I might say, from it. It doesn't have to play out like that in Iran. As I said, there's so much respect for the monarchy in Iran among the younger generation. The Crown Prince Pahlavi is right here in the United States. He's a trusted individual. And so let's see what unfolds for the Iranian Iranian people what they want. But I'm with you, not necessarily democracy is the right model for the Middle East. I think there are a lot of options for them. But, I think we still suspend judgment and see, again, if they are smart enough to take President Trump's offer and meet with Presidential Envoy Witkoff on Sunday.
I'm not telling them they shouldn't have democracy. I'm just saying let's keep expectations in check. But Ellie, thanks. We got to leave it there.
Thank you, Ellie.